Greetings and salutations. This is the voice of Loquacious of Herd, bringing you his afterthoughts on the 5th season finale for My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, Season 5, Episodes 25 and 26, titled The Cutie Remark. I heartily suggest you find and watch the episode itself sans commentary before proceeding with either this Afterthoughts review or viewing my full reaction, which is hosted at the link in the description. Be warned, this Afterthoughts review will contain spoilers for the season finale. With that out of the way, a note before we move on to the review itself. This spoken herd review will be relatively brief, as there was a more extensive written herd segment produced for these episodes. That written herd segment is available in Google Drive under details in the Blind Reactions description. Holy fuck! Okay, that out of the way. This finale is epic, definitely in the same league as other major dramatic conflicts against terrible adversaries like Tyrek, Discord, or Chrysalis. Again, if for some reason you haven't seen it, stop watching this and go watch it now, like right now. Now. You can come back here to this Afterthoughts video later. Done? So we find Twilight Sparkle squaring off against Starlight Glimmer, the broken pony, in a time war. A time war which Starlight, in her brilliant madness, has crafted so that she has every advantage. She controls the battlefield, the terms of engagement. Further, it's not enough for Starlight to beat Twilight, to wreck Twilight's friendships. A just punishment, Starlight believes, for the way that Twilight wrecked Starlight's, arcanely enforced friendships back at our town, the Village of Equality. Starlight has to destroy that which was most dear to Twilight over and over and over and over, in countless variations, in a myriad of ways, to grind home the point that Starlight has won and Twilight has lost. That Twilight has no hope, no way to truly beat Starlight in this contest. Starlight's drive, her focus, her madness, her brilliance, they render her terrifying in a way that raw power alone could never do. Sure, Tyrek or Discord or even Chrysalis were probably more potent adversaries, physically or magically stronger, one-on-one, than Starlight. But none of them have Starlight's passionate commitment to her warped and twisted view on friendship, nor her drive to hurt Twilight, to beat Twilight, to win. This is an episode that looks at some fascinating what-ifs, that explores the importance of the role of friendship, both in general and specifically as it relates to the main six, the spirits of the elements of harmony, to the well-being of Equestria. It is an episode that gives us a greater understanding of Starlight Glimmer's nature as a broken pony, and it gives us the best redemption arc of the series to date. Now that said, the episode was not without its flaws. Well, flaw singular. Specifically, when we learn of the origin of Starlight's antipathy towards Cutie marks, the event which would change her life, her stance on what true friendship was, and set her up as an antithesis to Twilight Sparkle. It was rushed and abbreviated, and while I immediately got it, as it were, there could definitely have been spelling it out a bit more than they did. Another few sentences, a minute or two, and they could have overtly fleshed out the path that Philly Starlight took back in the day that led her to become this terrible antagonist for Twilight. Young Starlight had a single friend, Sunburst, one she loved. They did everything together. They were alike, their differences trivial in the face of their many similarities, their tastes, their habits, their likes and dislikes. Two ponies cut from the same cloth, ready to walk through life together. But then, her friend got his cutie mark, and everything changed. He was whisked away. She never saw him again. Some people seem to have a reaction of, was that all? Couldn't she have made other friends? Perhaps friends with cutie marks? The whole getting a cutie mark thing wouldn't change the relationship. Or perhaps she could have stayed in touch with her old friend. As for my own thoughts on the matter, I believe it is strongly implied, although not outright stated, that she tried all that, as much as she could, given her youth. New friends? She was scared of making them, less because of cutie marks and more because she now really got that ponies, like people, are different from one another. As a young child, she hadn't understood the ramifications of that before. But now she could no longer trust that just because there were a couple of surface similarities, a shared interest, a common taste in music or art or play, that a new pony she met would be fundamentally compatible. and when her subsequent acquaintances proved incompatible, the problem wasn't their similarities, it was their differences. Differences overtly symbolized and objectified by that ultimate fetish of pony uniqueness, their cutie marks. After Sunburst, all of Starlight's attempts, however feeble and limited they may have been, at new friendships failed because of differences. Why didn't she stay in contact with her friend? How could she have? It's not like they have phones in Equestria, or the internet. No Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat to help stay in touch. Starlight's clearly very young. She could try to write a letter. Perhaps she did. Perhaps she wrote often. I would be surprised if she didn't. But unless Starlight's parents had gotten a forwarding addressed from Sunburst's parents, those letters never reached him. He could have written too, but again, without adult assistance. When two kindergarten or very young grade school friends are separated because one's family suddenly moves across country to a new city, odds of staying in touch at all are vanishingly small, and entirely dependent upon substantial support from the adults in the situation. Regardless of how much the child tries, their efforts are not going to be sufficient to keep contact open. So the moment Sunburst got his cutie mark became a linchpin, a key moment, a moment of transition for Starlight's understanding of what friendship meant, of her belief in the importance of sameness, of the dangers of difference. From here, though the show didn't explicitly cover it, I can easily see how the poorly processed trauma of that moment sabotaged all of Starlight's subsequent attempts to recover, to move on, to make new friends, or to keep connected to an old one. Sometimes ponies turn out different, and sometimes those differences tear them apart. And so Starlight wound up broken. She didn't heal properly. Her attempts to move on, to recover, which we weren't shown, but which doubtless happened, backfired, blew up in her face, and further reinforced the warped lesson of this singular instance. Differences are bad, differences destroy friendships, and the only true friendships are those based on absolute, unequivocal similarity, of sameness, of complete, enforced equality. And cutie marks are the ultimate symbol of difference, anathema to the philosophy of friendship Starlight began to develop, to embrace, and to live out. So how do you beat a foe like that? This isn't the sort of situation you can fight your way out of. You have to understand your way out of it. Twilight's challenge isn't to beat Starlight, it's to understand her, to empathize with her, to try to help Starlight see the error of her ways. Because through this all, the thing that makes Starlight one of the most terrifying villains imaginable is that she doesn't believe herself to be a villain. She believes herself to be a hero. Her drive, her goals are to do what's right, what's good for every pony. When thwarted, she seeks to punish those, like Twilight, who champion false causes, who act as agents of the evil of difference, who break apart and destroy friendships. There is one thing Starlight wants more than to beat Twilight in this time war. Starlight wants to be right. She wants to be the heroine. She wants Twilight to be the villain, to be wrong. And when Twilight comes to realize this, Twilight is able to win the Time War in one of the few ways that such a thing can ever be won. She convinces Starlight not to undertake it in the first place. The results of the Time War, of destroying Twilight's friendships, are catastrophic for Equestria. And Starlight, to the best of her understanding and ability, is trying to do what's right for Equestria. She's not trying to destroy it. Twilight reaches out to Starlight and actually gets through to the broken pony. She helps Starlight realize that Starlight is the one who was mistaken, who was wrong about friendship, and that what Starlight is doing isn't helping every pony, it's hurting them. Which is exactly what a character like Starlight needs, to turn from their old destructive path to try to change, to really become the good pony they always believed themselves to be. We close with Starlight reformed, but in desperate need of guidance and direction, rocked by the realization that her whole life was a self-destructive lie, coupled with the desire to start anew and make a better go of it this time. Enter Twilight, stepping up as mentor to Starlight. This is the beginning of a mentor-protege relationship between the two that echoes the old relationship Twilight had with her dear teacher Celestia. The symmetry here is lovely. Everything about this episode is exceptionally good, even by this season's standards. A delightful edge-of-your-seat, thoughtful end to another excellent season of My Little Pony. Kudos to all involved, and, though I hardly need to say it, thank you, and keep up the good work. If you wish to see my full reaction to My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, Season 5, Episodes 25 and 26, titled The Cutie Remark, the link, as I mentioned earlier, is in the description. Feel free to leave any comments or likes for that reaction here on this Afterthought review. In addition, the full text of the original written Heard segment from my blind reaction to The Cutie Remark is available in Google Drive under details in the video's description. And until next time, my gentle viewers, as always, kindly remember, y'all are awesome. Stay awesome.